Hi everyone, my name is Gail Bravner. I'm with the Sea Lamprey Control Center in Sault Ste. Marie, Fisheries and Oceans, Canada. Today I'm going to give you a quick update on the Sea Lamprey Control Program activities for Lake Huron 2021 and plans for 2022. I'm going to start with barriers because they're kind of like our first line of defense for sea lamprey control. These are barriers in streams that contain the distribution of sea lamprey. Because sea lamprey migrate upstreams to spawn and then the larvae live in streams for several years. So in 2021, we operated and maintained all of the GLFC owned sea lamprey barriers. There are around 17 in Lake Huron, and we plan to do that again in 2022. We also inspected and inventoried some close to 50 non-GLFC structures that act as sea lamprey barriers around Lake Huron. This is part of a larger effort to inventory all of the structures that are important for sea lamprey control around all the Great Lakes. In 2021, we also completed the rebuild of the Nicholston Dam, which is on the Nottawasaga River. Okay, so with our barriers containing the sea lamprey larvae to the lower reaches of streams where possible, we now want to move to get ready to use our other method of control, which is Lamprecides. And to do that, we need to do a lot of larval assessment to locate the larvae in streams and rank the streams for Lampricide control. So in 2021, larval assessment found no new populations, which is good news. They conducted assessments in 124 different water bodies. There were some COVID effects with traveling to areas that had high rates of COVID. But compare that 124 to only 30 were assessed in 2020 due to COVID. And the 5-year pre-COVID mean is around 115. So we're back on track in 2021 with keeping track of where these sea lamprey larvae are. Okay, so we've contained the lamprey with barriers and we've located them with larval assessment. Now we want to move to our primary control method, which is Lampricide control, to remove the larvae in the streams before they metamorphose, go out to the lake and damage fisheries. In Lake Huron, there were 23 treatments completed in 2021. There were some COVID effects with this as well. I believe there were another 3 treatments planned that couldn't be done due to COVID, high COVID rates. But 23 is pretty good still compared to 5 in 2020. And the 5-year pre-COVID mean is around 23. So back on track with that too. And in 2022, we have 22 treatments planned. And this map is just showing the latest locations of those treatments. So I mentioned our primary control methods are barriers and Lampricides, but we also got this other pretty large initiative called Subcon, which stands for Supplemental Controls, and the idea is to test other control methods in specific streams, and doing that by reducing reproduction. So we're targeting adults here, either blocking them from moving upstream or interfering some other way with reproduction, or trapping and removing them, but doing that before they can reproduce. And 5 of the study streams are in Lake Huron, also some in Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, and 2 of the ones in Lake Huron have already started receiving supplemental controls. So there's the Upper Sheboygan, which includes pigeon, sturgeon, maple. They've been receiving sterile males since 2017, not 2020 due to COVID. And then the black mallard has had a seasonal electric barrier deployed on it near the mouth since 2016. And that's been fairly successful at keeping the lamprey out of the upper reaches and needing to treat the upper part of the black mallard. Another important part of the control program is adult assessment. And this is measuring the adult sea lamprey abundance in Lake Huron over time. This is basically to see how many sea lamprey are eluding our other control methods. This is done by trapping and doing mark recapture to get estimates of the adult spawning runs in 6 different streams in Lake Huron. And these are done every year, and we call that the adult index. So in 2021, we obtained estimates from all 6 index streams, and compared to 2020, we only had 3 out of 6 then, so we're back on track now with trapping. So, okay, so now I'm moving on to, I've got 2 slides on basically the report card for how well we're doing with sea lamprey control in Lake Huron. So the first one's the adult index. This is the one I mentioned is from trapping. The points here are the sum of the 6 mark recapture estimates. The horizontal black line is the target that we're aiming for, which is 31,000, and the blue kind of moving average line is the 3-year mean, and the 3-year mean is what we use to determine whether we're at the target or not. So as you can see, looking at that line for 2021, the blue line, we're around 46,000, so we're above the target. And in the past 5 or 6 years, we've been holding steady. Yeah, so we're above the target, but if you look at the entire, past 35 years, we're definitely on the low side, closer to the target than we have been. The other metric that we use a lot for as a report card kind of thing is the marking rate on large lake trout greater than 21 inches. So this is the time series for Lake Huron. We didn't have a 2020 value due to COVID related problems, and the 2021 value I don't have on here either. It's coming soon, so keep an eye out for that. So all I can really say is the last time we had an estimate, we were above the target, again based on the 3-year mean, which is the line, the green line. Slightly above target, and the target here is 5 marks per 100 fish. So that's what the y-axis is, marks per 100 large lake trout, and the horizontal black line is showing the target of 5. But again, looking at the past 35 years, we're definitely on, moving in the right direction, close to targets. So we're fairly happy, but still above target. This should also note that this marking rate, as you can imagine, depends on the number of fish in the lake and the number of sea lamprey. So if there's more lake trout in the lake, given a certain population of sea lamprey, you would expect less wounding than if it was a smaller population of lake trout compared to the sea lamprey. So we also look sometimes at the lake trout abundance, and that's shown here again with the 3-year moving average. So lake trout abundance, just catch per unit effort, and you can kind of see maybe there's something going on where the population of lake trout increases, and at the same time we see decreases in the wounding on lake trout. Anyway, just something that could be playing a role in these time series. All right, so I just wanted to wrap it up with a couple of final thoughts before we open it up for questions. Most of the work was completed in 2021. There were some COVID impacts. We're still playing catch up from 2020, which was a really poor field season because of so many COVID restrictions, and planning for a regular field season in 2022. And so the sea lamprey population, lake trout marking, is low compared to the past 30 years, but we're still higher than targets, so giving us, some motivation to keep trying to get those numbers down. So that was a very quick overview of Lake Huron sea lamprey control activities, and hopefully we have some time for questions.